Daddy. I got another Hanukkah present tonight.
Wow, Benjamin, an Etch-a-Sketch. Not too shabby.
That's a Game Boy, you idiot.
Oh, sorry, I'm not up on modern technology.
I had a way then, losing it all on my own. I had a heart then, but the queen has been overthrown. And I'm not sleeping now, the dark is too hard to beat. And I'm not keeping now the strength I need to push me. Not now, but soon. The most beautiful light will wake us to pillow fighting excitement. Not now, but soon. Right into every corner. Satellites maneuvering beams of change, standing by the
Once in a while I could look at you, see the twinkle
rags to riches men have gone, through love's epitome, through Satan's glance for justice chance. They told this tale to me. It tells a story of love, which you may never know. In case that foresight happens, darling, I just want you to know.
Watch out for your friends, though they lose in the end. Sometimes they'll try to make it sin, but what is a man without a friend?
If it's all I'll ever do, little seagull on a marble stair. Trying to find the ocean, looking everywhere.
Knocking at my door.
You are just the kind of girl I always wanted when I was a little boy, thinking about being grown. Now that I'm a man, you come along, and I cannot let you go, 'cause I know I want you for my very own. So I say, pardon me, please, may I speak to you? I feel this is something I'm compelled to do. Please don't be alarmed, this is new for me too, baby. But I promise myself, if it happened again, I would end all my illusions or make something begin. And when it happened today, my heart told me to say, baby.
I am Thor, son of Odin, and as long as there is life in my breast, I am running out of things to say.
Great, another broken white boy for us to fix.
That's my secret, Cat. I'm always angry.
You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are. With great power comes great responsibility. I can do this all day. Wakanda forever!
And welcome, Internet, to another episode of Views from the 616, the blackest MCU podcast in the multiverse, powered by For All Nerds, where we talk about everything in the MCU from the perspective of people of color. And it is one of your hosts, Tatiana King, a.k.a. Fax the Destroyer, the coldest winter soldier ever, Tesseract Thompson, Schrodinger's Cap, Little Vision Vert, and the Wicked Witch of the West View. And as usual, I'm joined by my lovely co-host who always has the freshest spectacles on. Let them know.
Thank you very much. It's your boy, DJ Ben Amin, a.k.a. the Off-White Panther, the Power Toker, the Lawn Swordsman, Armand Duquesne the Fifth, the Fifth, Black 2, the Black Watcher, Black Tom Petty, Karen Civil War, Grandmaster Flash Jordan here in the spaceship.
I will never get over Karen Civil War. Like, there's just nothing more perfect than that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
never get over that.
That was 2021 in a nutshell right there, boy.
Wow. Well, we are hurtling through to the end of 2021 because it is really almost 2022. I can't freaking believe how fast this is going. I felt like I woke up in the pandemic, I blinked, and now we're in 2023 almost. So,
yeah.
But while we lament the passage of time that we cannot measure, let's talk about something that we can measure very well. That is Hawkeye. That's why we're here. We're here to discuss and review and recap episode 4 of Hawkeye, titled Partners. Am I right? Directed by the incredible Bert and Birdie. Once again, they did their thing. They put their foot in it. I honestly see a marked difference when they direct an episode versus when they don't. That's just me. But I'm having a great time with it. I don't know how you feel about it. Written by Heather Quinn and Aaron Cancino. Aaron, I just wanted to point out, was on the production staff for Scandal. So everybody remembers that amazing ABC shows, the modern day stories, if you will. They have a lot of
boy.
You are a boy, the famous line. But one of my favorite shows of all time until like that last couple of years. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, point
most
is,
shows,
right? I don't know.
that's like you could put like any show into that right there. It was great until
I don't know what the hell was going on, but I wanted to mention that because that show was very well known for the dramatics, and this episode had lots of dramatics in it. Ben, I mean, what you think of this episode?
Oh, I loved it. Right away. Let's just get that out the way. This made me go on Twitter and say, is Hawkeye one of the best shows that the MCU has put out?
Wow, that's saying a lot, Ben. I mean,
it did.
Is your love of Kate Bishop clouding your judgment, or is this just truly
my love of Haley Stanfield and Kate Bishop might be clouding my judgment? Let's keep it facts. Let's keep it a buck right here. But
Ben, I'm not gonna hold you, but I love me some Kate.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it 100 right here, and I love me some Echo. But at the same time, I was just thinking about it, and it's just really interesting what the MCU has done, like in a short time with their series. Right, you start with WandaVision right out the bat, one of the weirdest shows, but also like a big meditation on grief. A show that was great up until then you go into Winter Soldier, which is more grief. Like all these shows have been dealing with the blip, but they're all so markedly different from each other.
Very much
Winter
so.
Soldier is a straight up action flick, all this stuff, but also one of the blackest shows and blackest things the MCU has put out. Then you had Loki, shout outs to Kate Herron, of course, which was just incredible on every level, took a lot of risk, and then opened up the MCU in a way that we probably were not ready for, introducing Kang, He Who Remains, all that. And now you have Hawkeye, and it's this little Christmas show, but has so much heart, so much character growth, and some incredible action, a lot of great references, all the things that the MCU does so well. It's just hats off to them. But yeah, I would say that Hawkeye is up there, and to me might be one of my favorite things they've done. Yes.
Favorite Disney Plus show? Are you saying this is your number one Disney Plus show so far? MCU Disney Plus show?
No.
What's your number one?
Oh, it's tough. But
my number one's Loki.
Yeah, my number one's probably still Loki. But is that because you love Kate Herron so much?
No, I love Kate Herron. Thank you for everything, Kate. But
yes.
I don't love it because of you. I love it because of the story. I love it because of where it went when it comes to opening up the MCU. In fact, I think in many ways, it's more weird than WandaVision because it touches on so many subjects and topics that are many miles above what normal, like regular everyday people even discuss about and can even fathom. Remember how we talked about that whole thing about how higher level beings view the world and time and all this other stuff. So when you start getting into those types of discussions, then you're in the metaverse of your mind, right? So I love shit like that. So no, I that's why I really love Loki. But that being said, Hawkeye is shaping up to be better than what I thought it was going to be because I wasn't really feeling it the first 2 episodes, but I was fucking feeling it on episode 3. And yes, this episode I liked as well. So with that, let's just get right into it. But into the
themes of the episodes. Huzzah!
And the first theme I wanted to touch on is the truth. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. You can't handle.
Yeah, all that. So, listen, this is important because you and I particularly have always talked about this.
Can I say I called something?
You
about
definitely
this truth thing?
called something. And
Yeah.
I already know what you're going to say. If you want to say it
Yes.
now, you can, but I already know what you're going to say.
I mean, let's just get right into it because I told y'all my girl Kate was way too smart for that shit. You know, that she was no dumb idiot sitting across from this man who was a mass murderer. She knows what the deal is. But, you know, she just didn't want to accept it because that was her hero. I told y'all. You know?
Yeah, and that's what you saw a lot in this episode, right? Just the truth being told, but also the acceptance of the truth. And exactly as you said, Ben, I mean, Kate coming to terms with, yo, this guy and this hero that, and you notice every time, like when she was like, yo, you're the Ronin, aren't you? And you notice that every time he finally took accountability for what every line almost, she had a counter to his line. He says, for example, she says, you protected people. He said he hurt people. He said he was a weapon. She says, you were a hero. Like, notice she always has a counterpoint to everything he says.
Yep.
And she says, well, those mistakes are behind you. He says, no, those things are still tied to me to this day. And again, this is where I'm like, finally, MAGA man, you came through with understanding your place about what the fuck you did.
I just want to say, you know, I was rewatching it and my man was like, yo, you know, I had people aiming me at the targets. And when I
He said
didn't,
the right targets.
And so then when he didn't, turned into MAGA man, just went around killing Japanese and Mexicans. Like the racism just jumped out of him as soon as he was like, you know, it's like Kate was like, you know, he's like, yo, you know, people deal with the blip in different ways. You became a racist? Like, you know?
Yeah. And it's interesting when we talk about things like when people have to tell the truth, when you get to a point, especially when you tell a huge lie, you got to constantly do lies on top of those lies, on top of more constructive lies in order to keep it going. And it's going to come crumbling down. It always gets found out. And a lot of people in this series is flat out dead ass lying. Eleanor fucking lying. Jack fucking lying. Kate in many ways has been fucking lying. Like everybody. And we're coming, especially because there's only 2 episodes left. You're coming to the turning point now where people got to start telling the truth. People got to start really coming to terms with that and believing in the truth, right? That's the other part of it. Like, you know what it is, but you don't want to believe in it because it will hurt too much or it will sully the vision of what you think your hero should be.
And I love that convo between her and Clint because not only did, you know, she know it and she already knew what was going down, but it's also like how you said, not that she was trying to defend her hero, but also that she was trying to just make it where it's like, yo, you're not nearly as bad as you seem. You know, like you did all the good in the world as well.
It was definitely defending. It was both. It was both.
But also, I like that she came to acceptance and not where it's like, okay, you're some monster. You went, you know, she's like, well, I also just blew up a van full of people. So what can I say about people? But
everyone has shades of gray, right?
Yes. And that was great. I love that for that, you know, for her and for him. How did you feel about Clint coming clean? Because you are, you know, pretty famously
like not a fan of Hawkeye Clint Barton, of this version anyway. I fuck with him in the animation, but I was just like, finally, I was like, all right, great. Like I didn't, what's the word I'm looking for? Compassion? I don't know.
You didn't have that?
I didn't go, oh man, you finally came through, son. Good job. I was just like, all right, finally, let's get to the point. Let's get to the heart of the matter. And then, because me, I'm a solution-oriented person, right? Like, I understand, like, sometimes people want to say the feelings and how this affected them. I'm like, all right, cool. How are we going to fix this? I just want to know, how are we going to fix this? How are we going to go moving forward? How are we going to make shit better? And that's really what I'm waiting for. So when he said this, I was like, all right, finally, we arrived at where I was. I'm at stop 52. You were still at 2 for, like, you know, all these years. Let's go. Let's get it moving. But anyway, that's how I felt.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really loved that scene. I'll say that, you know, and so I really felt for, I mean, I didn't feel for Clint, but I did.
I felt for her. I felt for Kate.
I felt for Kate, of course. You know,
saw the pain.
Yeah, you saw the pain. And I felt for Kate throughout this episode. We're going to talk a bit about family in the next part, and there was a lot of feelings in that part. But I really felt for, not for Clint, because he has way too many victims to feel for, but it's like, yo, this is what I was trained to do. It's kind of like how when you look at NFL players and they're like, You know, it's like, don't be violent when all you tell them to do is be violent all the time, you know, or at least when they're on the field. That is like their goal and intention. Like my boy who's a former player, he was like, yo, I don't want my son to play football because I know I'm raising a gladiator, you know? And he's like, I'm good on that because I know what I am, you know? And he's like, I don't want my son to have that mentality. And so it's like you tell them to not be violent. And basically that's what they're telling Clint. Yo, you know, oh, don't be violent now. Be violent when we need you to be violent, but don't be violent the rest of the time.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And it's like, that's why when you see how football players are and you see how military men are when they come home, you know, they've done all this stuff. And then you're like, okay, just go chill at home. But just 5 minutes ago, I was shooting someone, you know? Yeah. So that's why I felt for Clint in that instance, because he's like, yo, I was trained to be a killer. And she's like, no, you're a hero. He's like, no. Let's keep it real, shorty. I was trained to be a killer.
That's why I was just like, I'm glad it just we finally got to the point. And what are we going to do about it? And that's what motivates me going forward to see where his journey will continue to take him, because obviously it doesn't end with the end of this series.
Yeah. There's some other stuff in the truth, though. Like, because like you said, nobody, I mean, people are like not telling the truth and then telling the truth, because Eleanor is out here telling some hard truths to people.
Yeah, Eleanor is out of control, to say the least. But yeah, she I don't even know how to explain how the way she dragged the fuck out of like her daughter, like every second she can get. And she drags her daughter. She dragged Natasha posthumously. She dragged the Avengers by proxy. Like it's.
She dragged Clint to his face, like,
and to his face.
Let me just take you around the room.
And the coldest part is she wasn't wrong.
No.
It's like somebody like said some wild shit too, and you like, hey, well, you're not. No, she was dead ass, completely correct. So
telling the truth in that instance.
What did she say? Her precise stuff when she said,
Natasha Romanoff was a normal person too, wasn't she?
Yeah, because. Yeah, he was when and we're referring to, and y'all trying to understand what we're referring to, that scene where right before Clint was supposed to leave the penthouse, and Kate's mom Eleanor just had a word with him right before he walked out the door, and she was like, "Yo, Hawkeye," Clint was like, "Yo, Kate's a good kid," and Eleanor's like, "Yeah, I know. You know, I would like to keep her. I would like to keep her alive and keep her good," and he was like, and then like. And I was like, yo, does she have to say it? But like, it's facts, right? She was just like, yeah, I mean, your homegirl Natasha, she was good, but that didn't keep her alive, son. Ouch. Ouch. Like when she said that, I felt the pain. Like I felt the dagger enter my heart. I was like, ooh, shit. So the truth hurts. How about that for a theme?
Yeah, the truth hurts, boy. Why men great so they gotta be great.
Yikes. All right, so let's talk about the next theme, as you mentioned, which is family. And we got a very heavy dose of family. I mean, we did a little bit. We got a little dose of that, or a little big dose of that in the last episode and I admit, a very heart-wrenching scene about the conversation where Kate was translating on paper what the son was saying to Clint, you know, about not being able to come home. That anything involving children just hurts me, period. So that was tough. But
little big head Nate is so cute too.
Yeah. But in this episode, we get another really heartwarming scene where Kate is watching Jack essentially sweep Eleanor off her feet, like literally, figuratively, like he's loving on her. And Kate has said moments before, like, yo, my mom don't do that, when she was talking about dancing. Like she, like her mom has essentially just kind of been in this depressive state almost, right? Like not fully living, not fully alive, right? Not full of color and vigor as one would be when they're actually happy. Her mom has, at least outwardly, seemed to be unhappy. And Kate, obviously you grow up with that. That's what you're going to understand. That's what's going to color your worldview as well. That could color why Kate behaves kind of in that dry way that she does, right? Like she has that dry humor kind of approach to everything.
Yep.
And of course, just seeing that, it's like, yo, I know my mom, she would never do that. But then you see this other side. Like, imagine for half your life, really, at this point, this is all you see of this person. Kind of like they are dulled in a way, and then you see them coming to life because of someone else, like the happiness that someone else gives them.
Yeah, and I mean, you just said it all right there. But Jack, his acting in that scene, because his like innocence and his just, oh, look at me, I'm just so happy to be here with family.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Is the man that innocent?
yeah, that's
he
what
plays
that
innocent really well.
that is what is so incredible about my man's acting, Dalton, right? Because
Mhm.
I just know him as this terror from, Better Call Saul. That's all I know him as.
Tony
as
Dalton.
As this horrific monster, this unkillable monster from Better Call Saul at that. And then you have, Jack, and he's just sitting there talking about his idol, Huey Lewis, talk about all his aphorisms are all off and wrong. He's like the ultimate dad,
Yeah.
but he's
Is
the
that a
CEO of the company.
Is that a front? Is this all games
For a
and
while,
deception?
I was thinking that maybe Jack was like duped into it. Like Eleanor just put his name as the CEO.
Mans is not.
Yeah, I don't.
No, he's
no.
not a simple man.
No, not at all. So no, I'm going with it. He's fully in on it. But I just love that. And shout outs to Huey Lewis in the News. For those old enough to remember Huey Lewis, he was a singer and his band is the News. They had mad big hits in the 80s, like If This Is It, The Power of Love, and a bunch of other joints. Some people know the story about Ray Parker Jr., the dude who wrote the Ghostbusters song, and he actually just ripped off a Huey Lewis song, like melody and everything for Ghostbusters, for the theme for Ghostbusters, for who you gonna call and all that.
White people ripping off white people.
No, black people ripping
White
off
people
white
or
people.
black people.
Black people ripping off white people, but Huey Lewis probably ripped off some black people, so it all comes around.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just melodies and stuff. You can't own that shit. So anyway, Huey Lewis had mad big hits, and now I just learned this watching this episode and going into some research about it, is that Huey is losing his hearing now.
Oh.
Yeah, so it kind of relates to all that, but also Jack's wild ass hair is fully explained by having Huey Lewis as his idol. Google pics of Huey Lewis in the 80s, and he has that same bouffant, all
that
pulled,
type of hair.
Yes, the big hair, all that. So
okay.
Yeah. That
so
was
all,
just
all
hilarious.
tracks.
Yeah, because my mom loved Huey Lewis. Like, shorties loved that man back in the day. He was definitely the man. Yeah. Yep. So that was great. But yeah, it was just like, this guy is such a goofball, but he's not. We already know he's not.
I mean, he's very effective of coming off of very lovable, right?
Yes.
And very relatable in his innocence. Like you said, he has the, what did he say? He kind of says like that life was like a box of chocolates line.
Yes.
Like, but he says it wrong. He's
all
like,
kind of wrong.
You never know, like your heart's gonna die. Something he said.
Yeah,
that was wild.
Your heart gets, the line
Your heart gets older.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. And he said makes the heart grow older.
Yes.
Yeah. And then that was so great seeing that in Kate, like seeing Kate enjoying her mom, like you said, but then also being inspired by Jack saying it's better that I'm here with family than being alone, to then go to see Clint and bringing some cheer to him.
Yeah.
And having another great family moment.
That also speaks to Haley Steinfeld's acting, because you can see the moment Kate as the character comes to that realization. Like she has this rage and lightweight hatred on Jack as she's like brewing, sitting there watching them. However, as they're continuing, her mom is all hee hee ha ha, laughing at shit. They all kikiing together. Like you see it slowly in her face. You see like, oh, this is actually nice. Oh, my mom's actually smiling, happy. Oh, this is not that bad.
Yeah.
And to your point, goes all the way up to inspiration to drive her to go and spend some Christmas time with Clint.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of Clint, this whole series is mainly about him fighting to get back home to his family for Christmas. Man can't catch a break, it seems.
Another heartbreaking scene, dog. Every time he calls home, it's like the heartbreaking scenes because, his kids are like, oh, mom's talking to dad.
Yeah,
He ain't gonna make it.
Where's his mom? Where's the mom from here? Because like I forgot. Like, did they mention that someplace in the MCU? Like you noticed how when they were talking, the mom switched to Russian real quick.
German.
Excuse me. German real quick. What that whole thing?
Okay, there's a lot of theories about all this, and this ties into the whole episode, right? And all right, in the comics, Clint is married to Mockingbird. Her name is Jesus. I can't believe it's slipping my mind right now. But anyway, Mockingbird was portrayed in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't seem to be canon anymore. So that's out the window. So Laura, people are theorizing that is the MCU's version of Mockingbird. And Mockingbird was basically a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. She's a really dope character in her own right, a kick-ass woman, running around with Hawkeye, kicking ass. And they were just like in the DC version, how you have Green Arrow and what's her name? The Siren Shorty.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're a couple in the DCU, in the DC comics and everything. That Black Canary, they've been a couple forever. So now in the MCU,
Damn, them niggas was copying off each other like that.
I never,
It's down to the partners that they use. Mockingbird, and Green
Black
Arrow.
Canary. Yeah, it's
I'm not Mockingbird, Black Canary. Oh my god.
it's
all right. I just sat there.
I mean, it's even funnier too because I swear I think Hawkeye is the copy in that one, so it's like Mockingbird. Like we're mocking it.
Like I know the whole thing about like Slade and Deadpool and all this other Wade Wilson. Like it's just I'm sorry, the levels of petty between DC and Marvel are absolutely legendary and iconic. So.
And it's crazy because I have some Mockingbird graphic novels on my shelf that are some of my favorite comics. So even through these copies, great characters and great stories are told. So Mockingbird's a really dope character, and their relationship has always been really dope. And so we're seeing this different version of that where it seems to be that the actual Rolex is related to Laura and not to Clint. Like
is that why she was particularly interested?
Yes, because and that's why he said a friend of mine. It relates to a friend of mine who was in the game but's out of the game now. So what we're seeing now, and this was also something that was in their first introduction, was kind of Tony makes a joke out of it. When he walks into the house, Tony's like, "Oh, she's an agent of some sort." And so that's what it seems to be, is that Laura is actually an agent of some sort, probably for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Somebody. Don't nobody switch up like that.
People said maybe Black Widow organization, but I'd lean more towards S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And so she's a former agent. The watch is her watch. That's why it has this tracking device in it, because to make sure if anything ever happened to her, she could be found, right? And that's how Echo is getting the names of the whole family, and knowing everybody by having this watch. And that's why the watch was, she was like, and that's why he was like, "Yo, I thought the watch was destroyed." And she's like, about that, just like your suit. Yeah.
That's
so
plausible.
That's why she flips to German is the big theory out there. And that's pretty much what I'm going with. It's not that she's just German. No. Laura is definitely about that life. That's the other thing. We've already seen that. In the last episode, she was gathering information. She's gathering information. In this episode, no, Laura's about the life,
Big time.
She knew about Clint's past. She wasn't just like, "Oh my God, my husband," because that was always my question. Like, what's going to happen when they come back from the blip and they see their husband, or her husband is a murderer. And she's like, "Oh, my husband's always."
She was already with that shit.
Yeah,
forget the blip, but like before the Ronin, he was already doing that wild shit.
Yeah, and then that's another theory out there, is that the Ronin identity is who Hawkeye was before he was with the Avengers. Like when he was working with S.H.I.E.L.D., he was wearing that Ronin suit back then. Like that flashback that we see in his head when he's thinking about shit, and you see him murdering some other cats. They're saying that might just be from when he was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it's like he was Ronin, then he was Hawkeye, and then he went back to Ronin, when he decided to go back to the murdering. And that goes with the comics as well, because Hawkeye has been, just like he was Ronin in the comics, he's been other names. At one point, he was Giant Man. He stopped being Hawkeye, took some Pym particles, and became Giant Man because dude wasn't using the Giant Man name at that time, Ant-Man.
Oh, you're not using this. Let me just borrow this real quick.
And that's the funniest shit. Ant-Man has had so many names. Like he was Ant-Man, then he was actually Giant Man, because he learned to grow. And then I
Not
think
clever enough for you.
then he was Goliath after that, so that's why there was a black Goliath.
Because that's the only way to distinguish the black man.
Yep. And then he was Yellow Jacket.
Right.
Yeah. So Hawkeye at one point was Goliath, and then went back to being Hawkeye and Ronin and all that. And so it made sense that might have been a flashback, and that's why going back into this other theory going around that was not Ronin Hawkeye who killed Echo's dad.
So who the hell was that?
Jock, the swordsman.
Is that why he's so? He's already
working for the Kingpin, who is who Eleanor called up
right.
in this episode.
Which I will say, because since we're talking about family, who in the comics, Kingpin goes against Maya in many different stories. They're actually. Whew, like he betrays the frenemies, right? Like he betrays her a lot, and then like she kind of lightly forgives him. Yeah. Like she puts him away in jail a few times, and then kind of forgive each other. It's a really, I think of an abusive relationship, and maybe not physically abusive, but like mentally, emotionally abusive relationship. But it's lots of that shit, and where Kingpin is like doing major shit, like killing niggas in Maya's life, and
like her dad.
So that's why I'm just like. Like it make, at least from a comic book perspective, like this has happened in so many different ways over and over between Echo and Kingpin, so they could in fact flip it this way for the TV show.
Yeah, and that theory is going around. I don't know why, but I am kind of half and half on that because I feel like it's going to take away, if Hawkeye doesn't have to explain why he killed her dad. If it's like, oh, that wasn't even me,
I don't like that. That's what I'm saying. I just, and I admit that this has no basis in logic. I just personally don't like that shit. Like, I don't like the idea of him being able to get out of it. Like, oh, that wasn't me. Because my thing is, he would have been said that. I feel like he would have questioned, why is Maya coming after me, knowing that I was the Ronin? Like, and the Tracksuit Mafia being part of all of this entire time, those are her niggas. So I feel like, to me, that would be a cop-out if all of a sudden was, that wasn't, what would you say from December to March? I wasn't in the suit at that point. Like, I'm like, okay, that's convenient. Like, come on, bro. Like, again, it could go in that direction, but I'm just saying, me, myself, personally, I don't like that. And I just think it would just be a lapse in logic in that right way. Like, Hawkeye or Clint would have said something by now, like, I had nothing to do with that shit.
Oh no, that was when Daredevil was doing that shit.
I had nothing to do with Maya. I don't even know why Maya coming after me like that. Yeah, like, he knows Maya is the head of Tracksuit Mafia. He knows it has something to do with something Ronin did to the Tracksuit Mafia, and I think he knows verbatim, or specifically rather, that it has something to do with her dad. That there's been this lifelong search. I thought maybe I don't know if Kazi said anything, but my whole point is I felt like Clint knows enough knowledge to make these association. So why would he now be like, oh, wait, I just remember I wasn't there.
No, you're right, because I feel you. He would have told Kazi that. He'd have been like, somebody else was wearing a suit at that time.
Did he explain, did he even explain to Kazi that he was the Ronin?
He said she's chasing a ghost, and you know that.
Well, yeah, chasing a ghost, but telling someone else that, come get your mans because they chasing a ghost is different from saying outright, oh, that was me.
No, because if he says that, Kazi's trying to try and kill him.
Right, so...
Yeah. Okay, unless Kazi and Maya, which I would say they are smarter than that and already know it's him. But, he's like, yo, you're chasing a ghost. That ain't me no more, fam. Deal with it. Hold that L. Here, this is something you can hold.
For you. Let's go into the next theme of flashbacks, because there were lots of them. And I'm mad, but I referred to them a few episodes back as reminiscing. But Hawkeye reminiscing as Ronin. He's like, I did a good job killing them niggas. He wasn't reminiscing.
It's just like when he was in the restaurant, fam was like, he's like, oh, the meal's on me. He's like,
two-pieced that nigga real well. Like, no, he wasn't reminiscing, sir.
Son, you seen how I got that man in the door and shit?
It was a flashback. It was PTSD flashback number one. But we get a lot of them. Yeah, we get a few of them back to back this episode when Clint recalls back to when he lost his family through the blip. And that was a fucked up scene in Infinity War where Clint was outside. He was playing archery with his daughter, Lila. The kids was running around doing what the fuck they was doing. I think Nate was outside on his scooter or whatever the fuck. And then, like, one by one, them niggas dusted away. Remember when he turned around? Remember he being Clint, he turned around, he turned his back, and all you saw was the little Rafiki leaves flying in the air, and it was just like, hey, yo, that's his son. And he started calling for everybody, and they was all fucking dusted. That shit was wild.
Yeah, that scene was incredible because that's Endgame.
Endgame, sorry.
Yeah, and that's what made it so ill because we knew what was about to happen.
Yeah.
You know, you knew somebody was getting dusted right there.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there with his family at archery. The son is talking about getting mustard or something on his hot dog or mayonnaise or something. Yeah, Nate's being a little weird kid. And then zoom, all of them at once. It wasn't even one by all of them joints. He turned around, everybody gone.
The realization was one by one. It was like Lila, Ma, Nate, and whatever the third kid, the middle
calling
child.
out. Yeah. Yo. No love.
Yeah, so that's traumatizing to say the least. And it came up again. And of course, as you mentioned already, him recalling his days as the Ronin.
Mm-hmm.
Also when he had that flashback, and it was kind of triggered by a few actions happening at the moment, but he remembered when he watched Natasha die, when Natasha yeeted herself off the cliff. She said, "It's okay, let me go." Bow off the fucking cliff. But and I saw that also as a parallel to how Kate gets tossed off that building. So in the last scene when and actually she didn't do it in an effort to kill her, but when Kate does get tossed off the building by Yelena.
Yep.
Very similar to what happened on Vormir. But unlike Natasha, Kate wants to stay. She wants to live. She wants to continue on. Clint cuts her loose.
Mm-hmm.
Complete opposite of what happened on Vormir, right? He was like, please no, don't do this. Please no.
Yeah.
He said like switch from the Matrix. Not like this.
Because he's trying to save her, and he's trying to save both of them.
In different ways, right?
In different ways, yeah. One by cutting her loose and one by trying to not cut her loose. Yeah, and leading up to that scene when Kate gets to the house was also just, fantastic. I also love how Clint, we talk about the truth. Clint just straight up lies to Eleanor right away. He's like, okay, I won't involve your daughter. Gets in the elevator and starts texting her, right away. Like, just goddamn.
Like, it hasn't been 30 seconds.
Not even, dog. You ain't even got service in an elevator and you already on it. Like, come on, fam.
Well, that flashback and seeing Kate believing that she almost, got hurdled to, to her death. That was enough to make him like, okay, no, for real, I can't have you involved.
Yep. And also having that, scene with her where they get closer to each other. They discuss, the archery game. They're sitting there talking about trick shots and trick arrows, really bonding. And like he's saying, really, he's realizing what, as capable as she is still a child, just like her mom is trying to say. Or not a child, she's 22, but
she's still very young. And very grown up. I mean, you're still like, you're
still kind of a child at 22.
Adulthood.
Yeah, you're like
still kind of a child. It's like that number at 25 up that you really are like super stepping into your adulthood.
Yeah,
like,
you really know who you are. Yeah, like I was watching Billie Eilish on SNL, and she was like, I'm turning 20 next week. And I'm like, God damn, this girl's had to go through so much before even 20, and like Kate's just 2 years older than her, and Billie is like, yo, I'm just getting to know who I am.
Yeah.
So it's like the same thing,
It's a lot. And you actually just mentioned it, just particularly and that really goes back in hand with family, but I'm starting to see that partner psychic chemistry really form very strongly between Clint and Kate.
Yeah.
And especially do the back and forth dialogue with them when they're talking about all the arrows and stuff. And what I find super cute when she calls him boss. Yes, boss. Like, and she wholeheartedly believes it. Like, that is her fucking idol. That is who she looks up to. Even despite all of the bad stuff she knows for sure now that he has done and continues to do in some ways. But she's like, yo, no, this is still my man's. I'm still going to stick beside him. You know what I'm saying? So.
But that's just like Eleanor and Jack are discussing it. And Eleanor says it like she's been obsessed with him since the attack. Like even her parents know. And I all loved how they reacted to him being there too. Oh, Archer, like he's so gassed. Like, she's like, what is an Avenger doing in my house? Even though she lying through her teeth as always.
And honest, that whole thing felt like an act. I didn't believe that they were like, ooh, wow, an Avenger. It's just something about the way both Eleanor and Jack interact with each other, but also to other people. And it was, for me, it was heightened. And I'm an empath, and I just feel it. Something felt off. I'm like, y'all niggas is lying. Like, y'all not really that excited and like, oh wow, an Avenger. Like, it just felt disingenuous to me. I was just like, yes, it's a surprise that, oh, Clint Barton's in your house, but y'all niggas don't really care like that. If anything, you're worried about what's he snooping around your shit.
Yeah, because if Kate hadn't shown up, their reactions would have been a completely different story.
Well, yeah, also because it's like, why the fuck is Clint in my house? How would he get? There's no explanation. Like, if they walked in and it was just Clint, what's the explanation for Clint being in the house?
Whereas this nigga's onto our shit. We got to kill him.
Right.
That's what it is.
Shit.
Yeah.
Whereas, even though she was lying, it was clear she was lying. Kate was explaining it away.
And not even that. Kate's there. They can't murk, Clint in front of their daughter.
You're right.
Not
and that's
yet.
what I'm saying. Like, and that's why I said I feel like it was. And thank you for saying that, because that just revealed the other part that I meant to say. That's why I felt like it was disingenuous, because when Jack had the knife to Clint, he was standing in front of him for at least a full 25 seconds. He saw the man's face. He saw if he knew who he was, and it wasn't until Kate jumped up and said, "No, that's all." When the recognition was there. Oh, it's an Avenger. Yeah, no, my nigga, you knew who he was. You was gonna skewer that nigga like a fucking barbecue.
Damn sure
You just decided, like you said, oh, Kate's here. We can't do nothing wild. Let's chill for a second. Like, no, you knew who he was. Like, I just felt like that, and that's what I mean. I just felt like that all of a sudden the recognition, a little too much, too little, too late, rather.
Yeah, no, definitely. So why? Okay, I think I'm gonna stick with you and say that that is Ronan.
Like, you're just staring at somebody with a knife and you don't recognize who he is, but then someone says it 2 seconds later. Oh, that's so and so. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely he's fraud, faking the funk right there.
Yeah.
But the other question that's out there is like, why did he want the Ronin sword then? Is it just because he is a swordsman?
Like swords? That nigga just loves him.
He got swords everywhere in the crib, on the dinner table. Like, my man got swords.
Man's obsessed.
So that could just be it. Yeah.
Could it be that simple? It's Marvel.
I don't know, because it's like, otherwise the theory is that he needs the Ronin sword because he was Ronin, and it's like, well, I got to get the sword back.
Why though?
Because he didn't want Echo coming for him over it. I don't know.
Why would Echo come? Why would Echo even make that connection? That's what I'm saying. Why?
Yeah.
If you go with that train of thought, why does he need the sword? I don't see how that would tie him to anything.
I don't.
You didn't have it all. Remember, you didn't have it all this time. So what does it matter that you have it now? If you were in fact the Ronin, what changes?
Nothing.
So that's what I'm saying. It don't make no sense. I really hope they don't go down that path. Please don't go down that path.
And it also don't seem to be the case, because Echo wanted the watch, right, from day one. So she knew the watch was connected to the Ronin and to her, who killed her dad. So yeah,
and Jack didn't seem to give a fuck about the watch.
Jack had no interest.
So we shall see.
Yeah.
The final theme is what we talk about every episode, which is the Christmas time in New York. You have your Christmas stories and movies and the music that's playing all throughout every episode. You do see really quick on when they have the movie marathon night, Kate and Clint, they are watching It's a Wonderful Life, that old black and white film about, what if you were never born? How would the life be? And the guy goes back and say, oh, I'm happy to be alive, all that. Great.
I got to say that Jimmy Stewart plays the dad in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently watched Vertigo, where Jimmy Stewart is playing a love interest of a woman. It's like that man was already playing dads, and then it was like some Reed Richards shit, like Reed and Sue. Like, dog, no, you should not be dating this woman in Vertigo. I was laughing throughout Vertigo because it's supposed to be a classic, and this dude is like 60 and the shorty is like 20,
Yeah.
It basically, so I'm loving the movie because it just did not make sense to me at all. Yeah. Okay.
That classic Christmas movie.
Not a Christmas movie.
Yeah. Not what Ben Amin said, but in the episode of Hawkeye, episode 4, the classic Christmas movies, the VHS tapes, or the DVDs, I don't even know what she picked up.
Yep. She had a bunch
of VHS because there's her old ass aunt's house, right? So
no, she brought them in though. Those were all DVDs. She bought the bootlegs on the street. You know how it is.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then obviously the ugly Christmas sweaters.
Yes, and also the margaritas, since they didn't have no eggnog.
And
but
the margarita.
I will say that her aunt, seems to be a party animal. Aunt had a freezer full of margarita mix, fam.
She had enough of them, right?
Enough where this man had them wrapped around him, and they were still making drinks. This man, there was a lot of margarita mix up in there.
Yeah, we also got to talk. We're going to get into it. We got to talk about what you drink those margaritas in. Have some questions there, but.
Oh, that was hilarious. We'll talk
get to
about that. But I'd also want to say I've been waiting for my Die Hard moment, and I realized that this might have been the Die Hard moment. Is the fact how Clint gets his ass served to him, just like John McClane did in the original Die Hard, where he was a beat up hero. You know, he wasn't like the heroes of the '80s where they're just wading through everything, murdering everybody. You know, John McClane, especially in the first Die Hard, gets served through most of the movie, you know, and he is beat to death by the end of it. Just like Clint, you know, where he's laying on the couch wrapped in margaritas. So, yeah, I think that is one of the Die Hard shout-outs that I've been waiting for, is that Clint just gets served.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Let's get into the characters.
Oh, and he does get served again, too, man. That's,
he keeps getting served.
He was already iced up with the margaritas, and then the final scene happened, and this man got his ass kicked again.
It is what it is. What you signed up for. Yes, we're going into the characters. Yelena Belova, played by Florence Pugh, also known as the de facto sister of Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow. She finally makes her appearance in this series. We knew from jump that she was going to be here. We just didn't know when she was going to pop up. But here she is. Hawkeye, and I knew who it was like immediately, when not from the outfit itself, even though I found out later that outfit that Yelena had on is actually a version of the one she wore in the comics. It's like a full black kind of tactical gear with those multiple green night vision type eye goggles on. But when she did the stingers, I was like, oh, that's a Black Widow assassin. As Hawkeye also realizes that someone has hired a Black Widow assassin. For what? Who knows? I don't think anyone's hired anyone. I just think Yelena, there's some tie there. I just think Yelena's just doing what she wants to do. It's something that she needs or something that needs to happen. And that's why she's inserting herself in this situation.
Oh, yeah. Me, as soon as Hawkeye was like, then who am I fighting? I was like, oh, it's Yelena. I screamed at the TV. Yeah, immediately. Like, I immediately.
You was yelling at the TV like black people yelling.
Yelling at the TV. That's Yelena. I knew it as soon. Like, it might not even take me that long. As soon as he started getting thumped, and I knew Echo was in the apartment, I was like, oh, okay, Yelena's here. You know, it's that time. You know, time for some action.
The other reason, I mean, but also besides the fact that Yelena is not like just completely evil and mean spirited, is that when she was fighting Kate, before she pushed Kate off the building, she deliberately put that safety wire on her. Like, you see, like, really, it happens very quick, but thankfully this episode is not as dark as episode 1 or 2, but you can actually see what's happening. Anyway, you see her, like, put that wire, the harness, like, on the back of Kate and then push her off just to get her off her back, but you see that she took the time to make sure Kate was safe. So that's another reason why I'm like, I don't know if this is like a hiring situation where someone hired Yelena to come and fuck shit up. I just think there's something else going on.
Oh, no. Okay. Remember, Yelena was sent by, what's her name? Natalia Seinfeld, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Louis Dreyfus? Okay.
Yeah, she was sent
Is this supposed to happen after the events of when Natalia pops
definitely.
up in
Black Widow?
Widow.
In the end of Black Widow, because she was sent by her to come to Clint. She's like, wouldn't you like a chance to take out who really did your sister in? So she thinks that Clint killed Natasha. That's why she's here. And that begs the question of, why did Shorty want Clint dead? Because Shorty, as we know, seems to be forming up the Dark Avengers right now. She has the new Black Widow. She has USA Agent. So why does she want Clint dead, though, is the question. But that's why she shows up here. This is, it's like, this is just really bad timing for poor Clint. Like real bad.
You know what it was when you signed up.
So, I loved it. That was just dope seeing her. But these threads of the MCU are coming together now. And like we said, we got 2 more episodes. We'll definitely see her again before this is out. And yeah, that's why she was, like you said, she was really careful to not kill anyone innocent. But she was definitely trying to murder the shit out of poor Clint. Man. Yeah.
We have Echo, also known as Maya Lopez, played by Alaqua Cox. I want to make that point also, that in the comics, at one point, Echo becomes Ronin.
Several people do.
Several people do, but Echo particularly in this case, I want to mention Echo because that's very relevant to this show, but also relevant to the different storylines that we keep mentioning, that are in many ways derived from the comics, and also the fact that, and we'll see as the more Disney Plus shows come about, but like she does appear in the Moon Knight comics. At one point, she takes on the Phoenix Force and becomes Thunderbird, or she takes on the Thunderbird name. She just ties in with so many actual different characters, including Daredevil. I think we spoke about that last week. And this would be a very easy way to link the leftovers from Netflix, new Disney Plus shows, and all of the, as you mentioned, the threads that we have seen from the movies.
Yeah. Echo first appears in Daredevil, and then she has dealings with pretty much all of those street level characters that we saw on Netflix, and who Moon Knight is also one of them, who we didn't get to see on Netflix. Oscar Isaac show. Woo. Echo already has.
Oscar.
Yeah, I can't wait for that joint. I can't lie, like, because Oscar's so dope, and Moon Knight is a really ill character. Hopefully they get it right.
Oscar is such a zaddy. He really is.
It is what it is. And Echo, I can't deny it. The man got the beard, the wavy hair. He's smooth. Yeah.
Salt and pepper.
Yep. So Echo has her own series coming, and even though it's still not confirmed yet, we pretty much seem to think that Charlie Cox is showing up in this new Spider-Man joint. So
we just know that he's confirmed that he's coming back.
Yeah, we do know that.
Kevin Feige's
already confirmed that. So that means he'll probably be in this Echo show because Daredevil and Echo are just linked together. That's how it started, and why not? And Charlie, people love him.
Are we gonna get Kingpin? Are we gonna get Vincent D'Onofrio back? Because the more all these new theories come out that I don't want to happen, the more we're getting away from seeing Vincent D'Onofrio return.
Oh, the only two theories that I can go with as to who her uncle is are Kingpin or the dead father. Those are the only two I can go with. I haven't heard any. I don't know what else you've heard. I haven't heard anything else that makes any sense to me.
Okay.
And the dead father doesn't make as much sense.
Anyways, we also have Kazi.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's Kingpin, dog. Yeah.
Kazi Kazimirzak, played by Fra Free. Is he going to do that typical jealousy arc? Because they kind of, to me, they were like tracking towards that. I'm like, here we go. When Hawkeye first jumps in the car with him at the car dealership, and he's having that conversation with Kazi about, yo, you just need to tell her to back off. Hawkeye, he does make it a point to tell Kazi how, yeah, he was a lieutenant for all these years under William, Maya's dad, and then when he ran the org, and now he's under Maya for all these years. And you kind of see Kazi make this face like, yeah, nigga, I've been in middle management for 10 years. So I'm just like, oh, they gonna do that? Or are we gonna
I don't think so, because I think he's so loyal to Echo, to Maya.
Okay.
Like, they've been friends since the beginning. He knows about her dad. He's probably super loyal to her father. So I think Kazi, that's just the role he plays until, if Echo leaves the Tratsu Mafia, then Kazi will probably take over. And that's what I see happening in this. I see Echo leaving the Tratsu Mafia. I see Echo either becoming Ronin or fully, like adapting her own identity, and Kazi becoming leader of the Tratsu Mafia.
Right.
Yep.
Do you have anything additional to say about Kate Bishop, played by Hailey Steinfeld, who we both love and enjoy? We said a lot about her already, but anything else you want to add?
Her shirt that she's wearing, the Laika shirt with the Russian shirt, is a tribute to the Laika, the space dog, the first actual Russian space dog, not the Russian space dog from the comic books, who is based on that. Cosmo is from the Marvel comics, and he's based on the female dog who was shot into space by the Russians. And that's what her shirt is. And she's also wearing that shirt in the comic books.
Right, the exact one.
Yep. And also their conversation about the boomerang arrow comes from the comic books, where in the comic books, Clint is trying to defend the boomerang arrow. And Kate is like, what the hell is wrong with you?
When she said it, I immediately laughed, like, but it's going to come back to you. And then she said, dodge. When she said dodge, I said, girl, shut up.
That line reading was so good. Like, you'd have to dodge,
She's like, no, because she said it like with earnest, like she was dead ass. And I'm like, yo, that's the dumbest thing I ever,
She knew it was. But she was just trying to, still like, well,
But it's stuff like that that makes you realize again, she's mad young.
Yes.
Like, not to say that older people can come up with these ridiculous ideas, but like she's mad young because she believed that, like, well, what if we try this? And it's like, yo, think this through. That's the thing about being young, right? You don't necessarily think it all the way through to a natural conclusion. You just think, oh, this is a cool idea. So it was like just another reminder, like, yo, she's still learning.
And she's not jaded by experience either.
Yeah.
Because Clint is like, okay, you're going to stay onto the place, rappel down, all this. And she's like, I'll just walk in with this man, take his groceries and I'm good. She just believes things will work for her because she, hasn't experienced anything not. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And she has faith in herself and all that. And it's all those things that, we love about her and that, why she's really quickly becoming one of my favorite characters in MCU. I mean, like I said, I was predisposed from the comics, but they're doing her justice on this show. Haley is killing it. Oh my God, a Young Avengers show now would really do something for me. I mean, it already would, but, to see her with some other characters, yeah.
Clint Barton, Ronan, Hawkeye, played by Jeremy Renner. He is, at this point now, he's going to give tough love to the kid being Kate, to keep her safe. But we know Kate's going to do what the fuck she want to do anyway. And she was definitely hurt when he was like, nah, son, you can't play with me no more. But she's going to come when she needs to. He's going to find himself in a pickle between a rock and a hard place, and here going to be Kate to save the day.
Yeah, with some new uniforms too.
Oh yeah, because she has friends with the LARPers of New York City now.
Yes, we got to talk about one of those LARPers in a second as well.
We're about to get to them.
Yeah, but the Hawkeye, like I said, I didn't have the hate that, I did think he went a little MAGA, but I just thought that was bad writing on their part where they just should have mentioned him murdering somebody else other than people of color. That was like, that was a mistake, but I like Hawkeye. I love his relationship with his family. I love his relationship with Kate because that comic series that we always mentioned, David Aja and Matt Fraction's Hawkeye run was just a beautiful relationship.